What's going on, my love? So today I want to discuss early warning signs you are dating a narcissist. So let's dive in. Let my listen get into this. All right, some early red flags that you're dating a narcissist. So talking to one of my little sisters, she dealt with her first narcissist, talking about how to avoid them again. Be mindful. You can't help who you attract, but you can help who you entertain. So what are some of the early red flags that you are dating a narcissist, okay? Now, first scenario I want to give you, let me give you kind of a background understanding of where this comes from, because I know people are going to have a lot of rebuttals from the very beginning, okay? If you've been dating someone for 2 months and within that 2 months, it's your birthday, don't expect them to give you a big, huge birthday party, right? They're not going to pull a Rolls. I would say they shouldn't be pulling a Rolls Royce out of the garage with a big bow on it for you after 2 months, okay? Social media, fairy tales, things like having Cinderella Syndrome will make you think that this is normal. It's not normal. Okay, most healthy people are going to want to know different things about you before they exert themselves to that extent, okay? A lot of people who have a lot of money turn into narcissists, or they know that they can abuse someone because they have money, and they tend to go after what they feel are low-lying individuals. Like, I used to be a waitress. I used to see a lot of them. I used to date a lot of them, okay? And so I'm coming to you from a place where I know exactly how they work now. I've done my therapy. I'm here to help you guys. So I use that scenario to cover my first point. They offer you money very quickly, okay? It can be money out the blue. It can be money that they just leave around, but they offer you money very quickly. So let's say you blow a tire, right? Now you blow a tire, you're short on your rent. Most healthy-minded people are going to want to know, okay, well, I don't really know you that well, so I don't have $200 to buy you a new tire, or, you know, I can come and help you, drive you back home, or I could take you to work on this day when I'm available, or I could pick you up while you get the situation handled. And then they kind of sit back and see how you handle it, okay? Then they're going to offer to pay for, you know, your tow, your tire. For new tires, they're not going to say, well, how much are you? And that if that affects your rent, they're not going to say, well, how much are you late on your rent? Here you go. Most healthy-minded people are not, okay? Even if they do have the money, they're not going to do all that soon. Narcissists will. And what they're trying to do is see where you are financially. They're dangling a carrot to see if you bite it, to see how much abuse they can do to you later on. Financial abuse, or how much money they can throw you after they neglect you, after they call you out your name, after a fight, after they disappear. They know you'll answer the phone again because you know them calling means that you're going to get some form of money. So that's the abusive cycle that happens when they offer you money early on. Most healthy-minded people are going to want to know, you know, were you clubbing and bugging all weekend? And that's why you don't have rent. If you tell me you don't have rent, did your tire really blow? Do you drive crazy and blow tires often? Okay, they're going to want to know, is it worth them exerting themselves financially? It's not to say later on in a relationship, someone shouldn't offer to help, but the way that they help early on may not be just to give you money. They are basically paying you now to abuse you later, are paying you now to neglect you later, are paying you now so that when they call, you'll answer, even if you haven't heard from them in months, okay? So offering you money very early on is a big red flag, right? If you take it, just take it knowing that you're probably about to enter into a very interesting situation with a person, okay? So if you know them very early on, they're offering you money, big red flag, okay? Also, if your spirit is not settled, is a big one. Because the energy that they're giving you, the electrodes that they're sending you are not adding up to how they're acting. Because how they really are, if somebody's really at peace, they're not going to give you chaos in your soul and your spirit. They're not going to make you feel unsettled, okay? So just be mindful. Those are other red flags. Your spirit not being settled, feeling like something just ain't right, that type of thing. So they offer you trips very early on, okay? They are, same thing, dangling a carrot. They're trying to see if you know, are the type that you have to upload to Instagram, you hashtag my fabulous life, you hashtag babe vacation. They're trying to see, again, where you are and what you're willing to accept, so that later on, again, they can neglect and abuse you. How easy are you to impress? Some of them are financially stable. Some of them you won't realize while you're out of town, they're paying for dinner with somebody else's, his other chick's credit card and bank account. He got the hotel because he's screwing the chick that works for the company, he or she. And, they're supposed to be on a business trip. And while they go handle business, they're going to dinner with this person that they said, oh, I'm going to come to town and see you. Oh, look at that. All right. Gainesville Amber Alert. So yeah, they're coming to town to see that other person, and they're on a business meeting while they're not with you, and that's how they're finagling the trip. So just be mindful that everything that glitters is not gold, and sometimes it's just glitter covers shit. So these are things that you might not realize early on, but the trip is very similar to the money. They're trying to see where they are, where they can have you to abuse you later on. They're basically making a deposit for the abuse they can give you later on. And be mindful, it is very dangerous to go on a trip with somebody you don't know that well, okay? If they do have a narcissistic rageful moment, you can be left on the trip, you can be dropped off somewhere. Trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking is a big deal. So be mindful of where you are, how cautious you are while you're there, all of those things. Because again, if you choose to do it, just understand it's usually something behind it. Most people that take you on a trip expect sex in some way, shape, or form. If not, they're just trying to gauge how you're going to be. And if you don't give them sex, you're going to see some type of narcissistic rage. If they are a narcissist, but trips early on are a little bit much to say you're just getting to know someone, okay? Most healthy-minded people are not going to exert themselves to that extent very early on, okay? They're willing to see how high you're willing to jump for that carrot. So they know, okay, I can use this person later on, or they're not going to go for my bullshit. And they'll probably leave you alone after that trip is denied. And you can say something like, nah, I think it's a little early. I think, let's get to know each other a bit more and we'll see what happens, that type of thing. But be very cautious. I know people think, because they feel like Cinderella Syndrome, they don't realize they have Cinderella Syndrome, that they are all up in it. And they're living this glamorous life. And they're playing on your Cinderella Syndrome. And if we haven't covered it, you can look on my page, Comfy Life Coaching, on Instagram, and it covers what Cinderella Syndrome is, okay? There's this notion that you are supposed to have this person come along, that 6-pack, 6 figures, 6 feet tall, any type of sexual orientation that you have, that this dreamboat is supposed to come along and sweep you off your feet, okay? They're supposed to be financially stable. They're supposed to fall in love with you and get married. And you're supposed to have this happily ever after, okay? That's what Cinderella Syndrome is. Men and women, no matter how you date, who you date, what you date, okay? So moving on. The next point is that they know you have Cinderella Syndrome, okay? They see the post that you post, or they talk to you and they know who you dated before, or they know how you carry yourself or what's important to you. And unfortunately, the people who prey on people who have Cinderella Syndrome are preying on good people. I mean, they're just innocent, these little baby lambs that, are sprinkly-eyed about life and think that everybody's good and kind. And you do have high standards. You believe you should be treated well, which is wonderful. But the type of treatment and when it shows up, you expect somebody to $300 dinners off bat, and it's just an unrealistic standard. But they know that. They know what Cinderella Syndrome is. They know we grew up off of fairy tales. They know that they only have to do a couple check boxes and they got you, okay? Another point is that they move too fast, okay? Not only are the trips too soon, they want a commitment very early on, okay? Get in a committed relationship after 2 weeks, or, they want to get married after 2 months. You wake up with a ring on your finger after 2 days, okay? And everybody always hear those 1% rebuttals of, no, I know somebody who got married and they've been together for 50 years. Very fucking rare, okay? Very rare. And I know people who married narcissists very quickly and they have been abused for years on end. They just chose to stay. And so it doesn't mean that just because you hear that somebody got married after 2 months and it was so romantic that you're not hearing all the other drama that they're not willing to talk about. Because a lot of people in narcissistic abusive relationships, or who have been in them and survived them, don't talk about them because they don't want people to look at them like they're stupid or like they should have known better, and they're still beating themselves up about the relationship. Sometimes they get in and they have kids. Sometimes they get in and they are financially abused, and so they don't have the money to leave. So you're not hearing about the abuse that they're dealing with, or the neglect that they're dealing with. Because a lot of narcissists feel like, well, I'm not beating you up, I'm not putting my hands on you, so I'm not abusing you. Neglect is a form of abuse, okay? Feeling like you're not important is a form of abuse. Repeatedly asking for romance and not getting it, for interaction adjustments and you're not getting it, requesting to go to therapy and you're not getting it. Someone who is just there is a form of an abusive relationship, okay? But financial abuse is another one, because initially they dangle that carrot and they come move in with me. That is a big red flag of narcissists, because they want to isolate you from your support system. Losing friends, not talking to friends, it's more of a reflection of you at that point, because you are deciding your friends who've been your friends longer than you've known this person, who tell you the truth, you don't want to listen to them anymore because you don't want your fairy tale book to be shut with reality check. So when you stop talking to your friends on your own, or they tell you that person is no good and they're interrupting our relationship when this person has been a friend to you for years, big red flag. But yeah, moving too fast is a big one. I know someone who ended up with a sociopath, which is a level up from a narcissist, and a sociopath can be a narcissist as well. Moved her from a whole other country to a country where she didn't speak the language, and would abuse her and kicked her and her child out on the street. So isolating you and moving you away, not just moving you in very quickly, not just getting, married or in a relationship very quickly, moving you away from your support system and your family is also a big red flag, okay? This is going down. So yeah, it's a red flag. It should be an alarm going off in your head, like, you want to move me away from my support system? I don't think so. So be mindful that these are all early on red flags that you should pay attention to. Be mindful that they can speak to you very disrespectfully, calling you out your name. Belittling you is a big one that people try to, or jokingly calling you out your name. Nah, whatever, bitch. And you're like, what? Like, you need to catch these things. Nobody who has good moral standings or respect for, let's just say women, because I deal in heterosexual terms, but this applies to everybody. Respect for women is going to call you out your name, okay? They're not, in a disrespectful tone. They're not going to call you a bitch. They're not going to call you stupid. They're not going to belittle you and your education and who you are and how you are, that type of thing. So just be mindful that those are some early on red flags. Finding hints of other people all over the place after you're in a committed relationship is a big red flag as well. Finding people very irate that they are dating you, okay? The reason that happens is because they're still perpetuating a relationship with that other person, some way, shape, or form. And I dated one, and he had somebody banging on his door when we were having dinner at his house, banging on his door, and she was going the fuck off. And I just sat back and watched, because I'm like, whatever he did to you, I get it. Get him. He went that way. And she looked at me, I looked at her, so I get it. But dealing with people kind of bombarding your interaction and trying to, let you know, like, this person, we were together last night, or he did. Don't dismiss that. Don't dismiss it as that person being crazy or that person lying to you. You need to take it as a big red flag and get the fuck up out of there, because that thing that they did to that person, they will do to you. With no regard. It's not that person is crazy. It's not that they can't get over it. It's probably that they were with each other the night before or the night before that. They're still perpetuating a relationship with that person. That's why that person is trying to be so blatant to not only let you know about it, but because they are still living in it, okay? So it's your choice if you want to believe that person who's told you, oh, this person's crazy or they can't get over me. It's usually not the case. That person who is irate is usually telling you the truth. So There it is. You all have a wonderful day. If you are recovering from a narcissistic abusive relationship or a toxic relationship, despite what you want to call it, and you would like some recovery help, please give me a call. Info below. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.